Well, turn yourself on there. There you go.
Hello, that's better. When the green light's on, it's good to go.
It's always good to go when the green light is on. That's always a good thing to keep in mind as we get set to go round 2 qualifying for the Parker's Ace Hardware I-500 Pole Award, set to continue with the second of 4 rounds of qualifying. Earlier this afternoon, Troy DeWald, the 11th time I-500 Pole Award winner, also happens to be a former 3-time I-500 race winner, set the mark to beat in round 1 of qualifying with a 40.413, average speed 89.080 miles per hour aboard that potent number 21 Cataract Collision Racing Arctic Cat. And Spanky DeWald, already the all-time pole award wins leader in I-500 history at 11. There's no one else that's even close. The next one is a tie for second. Troy Pierce and Dan Kurtz with 4 pole awards. Troy DeWald is 11.
That is just absolutely amazing. It just goes to show you not only what type of rider he is, and also the race teams, you know, he's been involved with, but boy, always a force here at the I-500. Troy DeWalt on that number 21.
He absolutely is, as we get set to go here for qualifying here in just a matter of moments. As we get ready, the teams will come out for their second round of qualifying. And again, that time to beat, Troy DeWald, the Cataract Collision Racing Arctic Cat, a 40.413. 43 sleds on the property. The top 38 sleds will be locked in to the 54th running of the GFL Environmental I-500 on Saturday morning. Green flag at 10 a.m. This is round number 2 of qualifying. 2 more rounds to go tomorrow, Thursday, February 2nd. Round 3 qualifying will be at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Now we'll kick off the FloRacing's live broadcast of day 2 of the 54th running of the International 500 Snowmobile Race. The 4th and final round will be at 6 p.m. tomorrow night, where we will learn who will win the Parker's Ace Hardware I-500 Pole Award.
And what a field of machines we have this year here, Matt. 42 machines qualifying here at the I-500, and this will be round 2, and boy, we've seen some real good runs out here thus far. Track looks good here as we're just minutes away from round 2 qualifying.
Still got a couple more things yet to do here this evening. Of course, round 2 qualifying happening here in just moments. And then we will jump into Kokosing Alberici Trailer Old 600 Modified Shootout Racing event. We finally get to some racing here this evening. A couple of qualifier heat races followed by the big feature event for the Old 600 Modifieds.
Well, if you aren't here watching on FloRacing, that qualifying session, boy, 1/1000th was the difference in your fast qualifier. That's going to be amazing. That
oh my.
Those 600s hit the track here momentarily.
Rodney Bell setting quick time, winning the Kokosing Alberici Trailer Pole Award with a 38.813. Second quick, there was a tie. Troy DeWald and Eric Bowman both going a 38.814. 1/1000th of a second separating first, second, and third.
That is absolutely mind-boggling. You think of 1/1000th of a second, and that was the difference between 3 snow machines out on that track in that qualifying session. That's absolutely amazing.
So congratulations to Tyler Town. He was your fast qualifier in round 1 for Meyer Pro Shootout qualifying. That potent sled has meant business this weekend, as it's currently second quick in I-500 qualifying, with Matt Town at the controls, the 31-year-old from Traverse City, Michigan, as that Town Brothers Racing team. Pretty solid so far here on day number 1.
Yeah, that's an interesting machine. That's a stock engine in that Skidoo with a single pipe, if you can believe it. That Town Brothers Racing Skidoo currently second on the board.
Ironically enough, Tyler Town in the I-500 is scheduled to ride for the Kovar Pike Racing team with Danny Maggie, the number 34 Polaris, who won the World Championship Snowmobile Derby in the Myra portion of events a couple weekends ago there at Eagle River, Wisconsin. It's ironic that Tyler Town, the 3rd member of the Town Brothers Racing team, will not be racing for Town Brothers Racing in the I-500.
Yeah, that is absolutely amazing. They had a strong run at Eagle River. Here we go.
And here we go, round number 2 qualifying. First rider on the track, he was your 2022 I-500 pole award winner, the Covey Machine and Welding Arctic Cat for KMW Racing, 23 years old from Hubbard Lake, Michigan, the number 7 of Luke Krentz. Luke Krentz aboard the number 7, right behind him, the Butler Excavating Ski-Doo for Town Brothers Racing, 31-year-old rider from Traverse City, Michigan, the number 2 of Matt Town. Matt Town aboard the number 2, and right behind him, the Wimsat Building Materials Polaris for Pichet Racing, 22 years old from right here in Sault Ste. Marie, the number 13 of Colin Henderson. The 7 of Luke Krentz, the 2 of Matt Town, 13 Colin Henderson, your first 3 qualifiers here in round number 2.
Krentz currently 8th on the board. He'll cross over, get a look at lap 1 here.
42.197, 42.197. His best lap was earlier today at 41.160. Still 8th quick. Here's Town. 44.818, 44.818. They definitely got the race set up in that one. His best lap 46.27. Pichet's first lap of 41.868, 41.868. As his best lap of the day earlier today was a 41.684. Do you expect maybe perhaps a lot of these teams going for race setup mode just to see what it's like here this first nighttime session?
I would think that they might be raising them up a little bit here. The track may be a little bit different, possibly a little rougher. So maybe the ride height's raised on these sleds. We'll wait and see.
Krentz second lap, 42.037, 42.037 will keep his best lap from earlier today, a 41.160, 8th quick for the number 7 KMW Racing Arctic Cat, Luke Krentz. Matt Town second lap, 44.744, 44.744 will keep his best lap of 46.27, second quick for the number 2 Town Brothers Racing Ski-Doo, while Chris Pichet into 13, moves at the 10th quick, 41.211, 41.211. Check that, that's Colin Henderson, 10th quick, and at number 13, Pichet Racing Polaris.
Good run for Colin Henderson, improves, gets up, jumps up a few spots. 10th now on the board, pretty good run for that Pichet Racing Polaris of Colin Henderson.
Next trio on the racetrack as we get set to roll. Out first is that Peterson McGregor Insurance Polaris for Erickson Racing, 29 years old from Fife Lake, Michigan, the number 0 of Jordan Erickson. Here's your first qualifier. Right behind him. He missed it. Let's see here. The number 10, Let's Go Racing Machine. And also, so it's the Grateful Meds Polaris for Let's Go Racing, 36 years old from Cedarville, Michigan, the number 10 of John Booth. And right behind him will be the Autos Retreat Polaris for Tommy Bauer Racing, 44 years old from Alpena, Michigan, the 19 of Tyler Nichols. So the number 10 of the 0 of Jordan Erickson, the 10 of John Booth, 19 of Tyler Nichols. First lap time is a 44.460, 44.460 for the number 10 of Booth. His best lap of the day was a 44.275. Erickson's first lap, 44.950, 44.950. Good. His best lap today was a 43.690. While Tyler Nichols, a 41.859, 41.859. His best lap of the day is a 41.204 so far. Nighttime qualifying here in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan.
Well, it's a pretty strong breeze out of the south heading north here, so it'll help you down that front straightaway. It'll harm you down the back straightaway.
So the second lap for the number 10 of Booth, a 43.973, 43.973, moves him up to 36th. And then number 10, Let's Go Racing Polaris. Jordan Erickson, a 44.917, 44.917 will keep his best lap of the day, a 43.690, 34th quick for the 0 Erickson Racing Polaris. While Tyler Nichols, a 41.807, 41.807 will keep his best lap of the day. Earlier today, a 41.204, 9th quick for the 19 Tommy Bauer Racing Polaris. Just underway, round 2 of Parker's Ace Hardware qualifying for the 54th running of the GFL Environmental International 500 Snowmobile Race here in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. As we get set to roll for the next trio of qualifiers. And rolling past us here in just a matter of moments, making his way down the front stretch, is that Advanced Insulation Systems. Polaris for Novak Racing, 47 years old from Maple City, Michigan. Number 24 of Billy Ski. Billy Ski behind the handlebars of the 24 machine. And right behind him, aboard the Countryside Sales and Service Polaris for Countryside Motorsports, 32 years old from Unionville, Michigan. The number 12 of Cam Vermash. And right behind him, your fast qualifiers so far. The Arctic Cat Racing Arctic Cat for Cataract Collision Racing, 53 years old from Monterey, Michigan. The 21 of Troy DeWald. So 24 of Billy Ski, the 12 of Cam Vermash, 21 of Troy DeWald, your next 3 qualifiers. As here comes Billy Ski, currently 11th quick at the moment. He'll cross the stripe, 42.171, 42.171, about 9/10 slower than his best lap of the day so far. Cam Vermash crosses, a 42.611, 42.611, about 3/4 off his lap from earlier today. Troy DeWald, 41.401, 41.401, about a second off his lap from earlier today. He's definitely in race setup.
Well, you have to wonder, yeah, the race setup in earlier today, and the machine's raised up here with some race setup in that machine. DeWalt, these 3 machines all about a second slower than their round 1 qualifying times.
Billy Ski makes his way on turn number 4, completes lap number 2. His second lap of 41.884, 41.884 will keep his best lap of the day of 41.288. 11th quick for the 24 Novak Motorsports Polaris. Second lap for Cam Vermash of 42.210, 42.210. His best lap today is a 41.983. 22nd quick for number 12 Countryside Motorsports Polaris. And Troy DeWald goes a 40.795, 40.795. His best lap earlier today, still top time at a 40.413 for number 21 Cataract Collision Arctic Cat.
Well, a couple of machines that may still be in race qualifying trim. The number 2, the Town Brothers Racing Skidoo, currently second on the board with a 46.27 as well. The Bunky Racing Polaris number 74. Those are your top 3 machines at this point with a 46.82.
There you see Chad Leon getting ready to roll out. The 99 Bouchard Racing Arctic Cat.
We had some strong runs. The Nelson Racing Polaris is that 28.25. Nelson Racing Polaris, as well as that Kovar Pike Racing entry, that number 34. Those are currently the top six machines in round 1 qualifying.
That is Dylan Stevens behind the handlebars of the Arctic Cat Racing Arctic Cat for Bouchard Racing, the 30-year-old from Monoman, Minnesota. Dylan Stevens on the 99 for Bouchard Racing. Their best lap of the day so far is a 43.097, which is 30th quick at the moment. So looking for Bouchard to move up the ranks. Danny Mackey in the 34 machine, the Kovar Pike Racing Polaris. Pike Distributors Polaris, 36 years old from Newberry, Michigan. They're 6th quick at the moment, while the number 74 Polaris Racing Polaris for Bunky Racing, 27 years old from Kindred, North Dakota. The 74 of Taylor Bunky. There's your next 3 qualifiers, the 99 of Dylan Stevens, 34 of Danny Mackey, and the 74 of Taylor Bunky. So Dylan Stevens makes his way down. Chad Leon qualified earlier today, so Stevens now on the handlebars. He'll go a 44.096, 44.096, slower than his 43.097 from earlier today. Danny Mackey, a 41.436, 41.436, exactly a half second slower than his best lap earlier today of 49.36. Taylor Bunky, 41.442, 41.442, 3/4 of a second slower than his best lap from earlier today, which is a 40.682. So 2nd round qualifying. So here he goes. 2nd lap for Stevens, a 43.194, 43.194. His best lap of the day, a 43.097. 30th quick for the number 99, Bouchard Racing Arctic Cat. Danny Mackey, a 41.697, 41.697. His best lap of the day earlier today, a 40.936 for the 34 Kovar Pike Racing Polaris. While Taylor Bunky goes a 41.335, 41.335. His best lap today was a 40.682. 3rd quick for the number 74 Bunky Racing Polaris. So qualifying continues. Second round, Parker's Ace Hardware qualifying to set the field for the 54th running of the GFL Environmental International 500 Snowmobile Race. Next trio on the racetrack. First up, the Jays Power Center Polaris for Team Blue Racing. 36 years old from Reedsburg, Wisconsin, the 02 of Jay Middlestat. Behind him, the Alta Equipment Company Polaris for Colbus Racing. 47 years old from Slidell, Louisiana, the number 8 of Derek Colbus. And right behind him, the Richter Construction Polaris for RCI Racing. From 28 years old from Garfield, Minnesota, the 62 of Orion Bozek. So you got the 02 of Jay Middlestat, the 8 of Derek Colbus, 62 of Orion Bozak, your next three qualifiers. Jay Middlestat recently inducted into the World Championship Snowmobile Derby Hall of Fame over in Eagle River, Wisconsin, former World Championship Snowmobile Derby World Champion. Jay Middlestat, one of the most accomplished riders over there in Eagle River, Wisconsin. First lap, 42.771, 42.771, well off his best lap of the day, of 41.416, still 14th quick. Derek Colbus makes his way down the front stretch, his first lap, of 43.842, 43.842, about a second off his best lap of the day of 42.839, just 28th quick. Orion Bozek makes his way down, 44.147, 44.147, about 3/4 of a second off his best lap of the day so far. Top 38 teams locked in to the 54th running of the I-500. 43 teams on the property now. As Middlestat, his last lap, 42.582. 42.582 will keep his best lap of the day from earlier, a 41.416. 14th quick for the number 02, Team Blue Racing Polaris. Here comes Derek Colbus. Colbus down the front stretch of the 8 machine. 44.487, 44.487 will keep his best lap from earlier, a 42.839, 28th quick for the number 8 Colbus Racing Polaris. Orion Bozek, a 43.862, 43.862 will keep his best lap of the day from earlier, a 43.354, 33rd quick for the number 62 RCI Racing Polaris. So we continue to roll on with qualifying. Round number 2, Parker's Ace Hardware qualifying. And there you see the 57 of the Mickey Sleds and Snowmobile Depot, Polaris for Mickey Sleds Racing. The 32-year-old from Marquette, Michigan, the 57 of Kevin Flannery making his way onto the racetrack now. Flannery gonna man the fort, if you will, for Mickey Sleds Racing. Also on the racetrack is the Erico Manufacturing Arctic Cat for Lungus Racing, 27 years old from Thief River Falls, Minnesota, the 23 of Ben Lungus. And right behind him, aboard the Rapid City Heating and Cooling Polaris for Furkey Racing, 26-year-old rider. Actually, Ryan McCaig qualified earlier today, now at the controls, a 42-year-old from Rudyard, Michigan, the number 55 of Aaron Mayer. Son of the legendary Tank Mayer, Aaron Mayer, part of that number 55 Furkey Racing team. As Kevin Flannery makes his way down the front stretch, he'll complete his first lap. 42.875, 42.875, about a half second off his best lap from earlier today, still 25th. Longest first lap, 41.922, 41.922, also about a half second off his best lap, currently 15th. Here comes Aaron Mayer, makes his way down the front stretch in that number 55 machine. Mayer's first lap, 44.848, 44.848 first lap time for Mayer. That sled's best lap was a 42.824 earlier today, which is 27th. As Kevin Flannery comes down the front stretch, he'll complete lap number 2 for the night. A 42.531, 42.531 will keep his best lap, a 42.398 from earlier this afternoon. 25th quick for the number 57 Mickey Sleds Racing Polaris. Ben Lungus, his second lap, 41.905, 41.905, as you see the 55 of Aaron Mayer off the sled. Tough break for Mayer in that 55 machine. But Ben Lungus, got back to Ben Lungus real quick, a 41.905. His best lap was a 41.483. 15th quick on the day for the number 23 Lungus Racing Arctic Cat. As for Aaron Mayer there in the 55 machine, the best lap of the day for the 55 will be a 42.824 set earlier today, 27th quick for the number 55 Furky Racing Polaris.
Well, Mayer back on board that sled, got it fired back up and turned around the right direction now. As that happened down in that turn 3-4 area, just kind of, that sled got out from under him and slid around, and he had the dismount down in turn 3 area. So here comes Mayer now down the front straightaway.
He is going to get his official second lap here. And for the record, it was a 133.272, so his best lap of the day will be a 42.824, 27th quick for the 55 Furky Racing Polaris. As we get ready to roll, next qualifier on the track, the Woody's Traction Polaris for Hoos Racing, the 26-year-old from Manistee, Michigan, the 67 of Jordan Carlson. Right behind him is your defending race winner, the Polaris Racing Polaris for Nelson Racing, 29 years old from Stevens Point, Wisconsin, the number 28 of Andy Wensloff. And right behind him is his Nelson Racing teammate, the Polaris Racing Polaris for Nelson Racing, 31 years old from Fergus Falls, Minnesota, the 18 of Dan Revring. So the 67 of Jordan Carlson, the 28 of Andy Wensloff, and the 18 of Dan Revering, your next three qualifiers. That Hoos Racing Polaris 12th after round 1, while the 28 Nelson Racing Polaris 4th quick. The 18 Nelson Racing Polaris currently 18th quick at the moment. So the time to beat remains Troy DeWalls of 40.413 is the time to beat. As here comes Jordan Carlson, who's racing the winners of the 2004 I-500. Makes his way down the front stretch. First lap, 41.865, 41.865, about a half second off his best lap of the day so far. Still 12th quick. Here's Andy Wensloff, 42.589, 42.589, well off his best lap of the day, a 40.740. They're definitely a race setup. Dan Revering comes across, a 41.684, 41.684, not too far off his best lap of the day, a 41.629. 6/100ths off.
So obviously the Nelson race team trying some things out there. One sled possibly in race trim and the other one maybe still in qualifying trim out there.
So Jordan Carlson crosses the strike, 41.912, 41.912 will keep his best lap from earlier today, a 41.316, 12th quick for the 67 Hoos Racing Polaris. Here comes Andy Wensloff, 42.748, well off his best lap. 4.2748, his best lap of the day, a 40.740, 4th quick, the 28 Nelson Racing Polaris, while Dan Revering moves up to the 15th quick with his best lap of the day, a 41.429, 41.429, 15th quick for the 18 Nelson Racing Polaris.
So Revering improves, his time jumps up to that 15th spot. The number 28 Nelson Racing Polaris there of Andy Wensloff, Justin Tate, I should say, still in that 4th spot. So like you mentioned, 2 seconds slower, probably got the race setup in on board that machine.
Next trio making their way out. First up, as they just crossed your screen, the Abbey Stoneworks Arctic Cat for R&S Racing, 39 years old from nearby Rudyard, Michigan, the 17 of Kyle Rowe. Right behind him, celebrating his birthday tomorrow aboard the R&R Farms Polaris for R&R Racing, 35 years old from Bay City, Michigan, the number 20 of John Giffel. And right behind him, the 45th Parallel Marine Ski-Doo for AC Racing, 49 years old from Traverse City, Michigan, the 47 of Chris Kelly. So the 17 of Kyle Rowe, the 20 of John Giffel, 47 of Chris Kelly, your next three qualifiers. And the field nice and spread out, send them out 3 at a time. You can definitely spread these machines out here on this legendary 1 mile ice oval. So here comes Kyle Rowe, part of that R&S Racing machine, to finish 7th in last year's I-500. John Giffel right behind, coming out of turn number 4. Just in front of him is that number 17, a Kyle Rowe. And here comes Rowe across the start-finish line, his first lap of the night. So 45.484, 45.484, about 3 seconds off his lap from earlier today. John Giffel, 42.924, 42.924, about 8/10 off his best lap of the day, still 23rd. And Chris Kelly goes a 43.703, 43.703, about 3/4 of a second off his best lap of the day from earlier. He is 29th quick at the moment. Top 38 teams, Spanky, locked in to Saturday's 54th running, the GFL Environmental International 500 snowmobile race. Currently, the 78 Brownlee Boys Racing Polaris on the bubble at a 44.252.
Well, 42 machines here trying to qualify for those 38 spots.
Kyle Rose, second lap, 43.017, 43.017 will keep his best lap from earlier, a 42.530. 26 quick for the 17 RNS Racing Arctic Cat. For John Giffel, he went up 43.347, 43.347. His best lap of the day was a 42.088. 23rd quick for the number 20 R&R Racing Polaris. And last but not least, Chris Kelly goes a 44.232, 44.232. His best lap of the day was earlier, a 42.920. 29th quick for the 47 AC Racing Ski-Doo. So we continue to roll on. Round 2, Parker's Ace Hardware qualifying. As we continue to set the field for the 54th running of the GFL Environmental International 500 snowmobile race. Matt Preer alongside Spanky Robinson, Dave Johnston helping us out up here in the Joe Mez Memorial broadcast booth, getting our qualifying order and our factuals in check. Certainly appreciate Dave's efforts. Well, John Wick's taking a nap, really. Well, he's really, well, he is an old guy, so. We gotta get
the old boy rested up for the activity tonight here at the track.
I hear ya. Next rider on the racetrack aboard the Polaris Racing Polaris for Teen Heritage Racing. 33 years old from Roseau, Minnesota, the 54 of Alex Satine. Right behind him, the M&W Crane Rental Arctic Cat for Netsky Racing. 32-year-old rider from Midland, Michigan, the 00 of Andrew Terrell. And right behind him, the Riverside Restaurant Polaris for K&E Racing. 37 years old from Bay City, Michigan, the number 48 of Michael Lineberger. So the 54 of Alex Hatteen, 00 of Andrew Terrell, 48 Michael Lineberger, your next 3 qualifiers. Hatteen, 21st quick, Lineberger 20th, and the 00, Terrell 35th. Hatteen comes across, first lap, 43.213, 43.213, about a second and a quarter off his best lap from earlier today, still 21st quick. First lap for Terrell, 43.896, 43.896, about a 10th off his best lap of the day. He's 35th quick. He's in the show for now. Michael Lineberger, 42.877, 42.877, about a second off his best lap from earlier today. Still 20th quick. It would benefit Andrew Terrell to not put the race setup on, as they are sitting 35th quick at the moment. As Alex Hatteen makes his way down the front stretch, his second lap, 42.956, 42.956 will keep his best lap of the day, 41.960, 21st quick for the 54 Teen Heritage Racing Polaris. Here comes Andrew Terrell, 43.996, 43.996. His best lap of the day, a 43.752, 35th quick for the number 00, Netsky Racing Arctic Cat. While Michael Lineberger goes a 42.343, 42.343. His best lap earlier today, a 41.822, 20th quick for the 48 K&E Racing Polaris.
So a couple of sleds improved their times here at the second qualifying session here, but the majority of the sleds, possible race setups on board, as the times seem to be 1 to 2 seconds slower here. As we get ready, 3 more getting ready to come out onto the race course here at the I-500 and qualifying for the 54th running of the I-500.
So we will continue on with qualifying. Next rider on the racetrack, the Richter Construction Polaris for RCI Racing, 29 years old in Traverse City, Michigan, a 61 of Kyle Richter. Right behind him, they got some work to do from earlier today. The Applebee's Neighborhood Bar and Grill Polaris for Team Applebee's Racing, 30-year-old from Oscoda, Michigan, the 72 of Jake Garrow. And right behind him, the Firelight Integrated Maintenance Services Polaris for Yovich Racing, 35 years old from right here in Sault Ste. Marie, the 22 of Larry Young Jr. So the 61 of Kyle Richter, the 72 of Jake Garrow, and the 22 of Larry Young Jr., your next 3 qualifiers. And that 72 Team Applebee's entry, 40th quick at the moment. Cal Richter comes across, 31st quick, 43.592, 43.592, about 4/10 off his best lap from earlier today. Here comes Jake Garrow. Garrow improves, he's in the show for now, 34th quick, a 43.450, 43.450, 34th quick. While the Eleventh Racing Machine, a 42.087, 42.087, about a half second off. But big pickup by Jake Garrow on the 72 machine, knocks the number 10 Let's Go Racing Polaris off the bubble, puts a 00 of Netsky Racing Arctic Cat on the bubble at 36 quick.
Yeah, nice run for Garrow. He gets it up in there and in the show as of now in that Carl Schwartz Racing Polaris.
Check that, 38th quick is their bubble time, not 36. I messed that up, I'm sorry. 43.305, 43.305, the second lap for the 61 of Richter. His best lap of the day, a 43.177, 31st for the 61 RCI Racing Polaris. Jake Garrow, 42.993, 42.993, moves him up to 30th quick for the number 72 Team Applebee's Racing Polaris. 30th quick, and then the 22 of Larry Young Jr., 42.002. His best lap earlier today of 41.563, 17th for 22 Eleventh Racing Polaris. So your bubble time is now, it did change it a little bit, your bubble timer is now a 44.112 for the 56 ASB Racing Polaris. That is your 38th in bubble time. Top 38 teams locked into the show.
So 2 real good laps for Jake Garrow out there. He had 2 good ones in there. His best, a 42.993. That moves him up the ladder. Currently 30th on the board in that Carl Schwartz Racing Polaris.
Next trio on the racetrack. First up, the the second Eleventh Racing entry, the FireRite Integrated Maintenance Services Polaris for Eleventh Racing. 34 years old from right here in Sault Ste. Marie. The 16 of Brian Ball. Brian Ball in the 16, right behind him. The Indian Summer Apple Juice Polaris for Brownlee Boys Racing. 41 years old from Grand Blanc, Michigan. The 77 of Ryan Wolf, and behind him, how about, welcome back, the DL Racing Polaris for DL Racing, 31 years old from Belgrade, Montana, the 29 of Bobby Menny. The 16 of Brian Ball, the 77 of Ryan Wolf, 29 of Bobby Menny. Your next 3 qualifiers. Menny, a former I-500 Pole Award winner in 2016. Here comes Brian Ball in the 16. His first lap, 41.678, 41.678, about 6/10 off his best lap, currently still 7th quick. Here comes Ryan Wolf in the 77 machine, 33rd on the board as of now, and that's where he'll stay, 43.345, 43.345, about a 10th off his best lap from earlier today. Bobby Menny makes his way across, 42.731, 42.731, about a second and a quarter off the DL Racing Polaris' best lap, still 13th. Second lap coming for that 16 Eleventh Racing Polaris, a 41.216, 41.216 will keep his best lap of the day, a 41.096. 7th quick so far for the 16 Eleventh Racing Polaris. Ryan Wolf crosses the stripe at a 43.594, 43.594 will keep his best lap from earlier today, a 43.271. 33rd quick for the 77 Brownlee Boys Racing Polaris. And for Bobby Menny, a 42.390, 42.390 will keep the best lap of the day for that team, a 41.405, 13th quick for the 29 DL Racing Polaris.
Well, looks to be just a few more. Looks like about 3 more maybe possibly to come in qualifying round number 2 here for the I-500, the 54th running here up in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan.
Next trio making their way on the racetrack. First up is the World Class Racing Polaris for World Class Racing. 27-year-old rider from Tawas, Michigan, the 41 of Stephen Ullman. Right behind him, former I-500 winner back in 2018, the Arctic Cat Racing Arctic Cat for HC Racing. 26 years old from Eagle River, Wisconsin, number 5 is Zach Herfindahl. And right behind them, the K3 Clothing Polaris for Ironman Racing, the 42-year-old from Sault Ste. Marie, the 52 of James Kay. So the 41 of Stephen Owen, the 5 of Zach Herfindahl, 52 James Kay, your next 3 qualifiers. And for James Kay, they got some work to do. They're 41st quick on the board. They need to pick up over a second to get into that coveted top 38. Here comes that world-class Racing Polaris, currently 18th on the board. Right about in the middle of the field for that Dave Simcoe owned and prepared sled. First lap for Ullman, 43.065, 43.065, about a second and change off their best lap of the day, still 18th. Zach Herfindahl crosses, 42.088, 42.088, about 6/10 off their best lap of the day, still 19th. Here comes James Kay. They need to pick up some speed. They're 41st quick on the charts after round 1. Here comes Kay, he'll cross the line, 44.968, 44.968. He improves, but still 41st. They still got to pick up some speed. About 8/10 to get into that coveted top 38. Here comes Stephen Ullman. Ullman crosses a stripe at a 42.912, 42.912. Will keep his best lap from earlier today, a 41.594. 18th quick for the 41 World-Class Racing Polaris. Zach Herfindahl stays 19th at a 42.293, 42.293. His best lap from earlier today, a 41.662. 19th quick for the number 5 HS Racing Arctic Cat. Here comes James Kay. Kay crosses the line. 44.968, 44.968. He will stay 41st quick. And that number 52 Ironman Racing Polaris, they've got 2 more chances to get into the top 38 spots.
Yeah, looks to be 1 more to go here in the qualifying round number 2. And machines pretty much running. A few have bettered their times, but a lot of sleds not able to better their round 1 qualifying times here. And round number 2 continues here at the I-500 for the 54th running of the International I-500 snowmobile race here in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan.
Another team that needs to pick up speed is coming out next. Aboard the Northern Crankshafts Arctic Cat for Northern Crankshafts Racing, 43 years old from Thief River Falls, Minnesota. The 50 of Eric Rowland. Eric Rowland aboard the number 50. Right behind him, they don't need to pick up speed. They're 5th quick on the charts. The Polaris Racing Polaris for Nelson Racing, 19-year-old from Green Bay, Wisconsin. The 25 of Marshall Bussey. And right behind them, they are sitting on the bubble at 38th quick. The GFL Environmental Polaris for ASB Racing, 39 years old from Rudyard, Michigan. The 56 of Jeremy Peepo. The 50 of Eric Rowland, 25 of Marshall Bussey. And the number 56 of Jeremy Peepo, your next 3 qualifiers. Keep an eye on the 50 and the 56. They are 40th and 38th respectively. Marshall Bussey has nothing to worry about. He's 5th quick right now, that number 25. So Eric Rowland, their best lap of the day, a 44.285. They've got to beat a 44.112. Not going to do it. 44.530, 44.3530. Marshall Bussey, a 41.488, 41.488, 5/10 off his best lap of the day, still 5th quick. Here comes Jeremy Peepo. They are on the bubble at 38th quick. See if they can improve this time by 45.401, 45.401, about a second and a third off their best lap, which is the bubble time at a 44.112. That is the time to beat to get into the top 38. Here comes Eric Rowland. They need to pick up some speed. They're about 2/10 off right now. 44.599, 44.599. Their best lap from earlier today, a 44.285. 40th quick for the number 50 Northern Crankshafts Racing Arctic Cat. Marshall Bussey went a 41.411, 41.411. His best lap of the day, a 40.901. 5th quick for the number 25 Nelson Racing Polaris. And Jeremy Peepo, a 44.633, 44.633. They stay on the bubble at 38th quick at a 44.112 for the 56 ASB Racing Polaris. Couple more sleds yet to qualify.
Yeah, they continue to bring some sleds up to the line here. Looks to be a couple more. That may be all. As we continue qualifying for the 54th running of the International I-500. 2 more out onto the race course.
Should be 2, possibly 3, as we did get a 43rd entry, technically, though we have not seen them out there as of yet. Here's the first 2 coming up next. The Neo Blasters Industrial and Environmental Services Arctic Cat for Ritchie Racing. 37 years old from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. The number 1, that is Jake Ritchie on the handlebars this time. Jake Ritchie in the 1. They qualified pretty good, 24th quick earlier today. Right behind them, the Edmondson Orchids Ski-Doo for Team Torture Racing, 57 years old from Traverse City, Michigan. The 35 of Scott Odom, and they have a lot of work to do. They're 42nd on the charts right now. Scheduled to go, unable to answer the call for qualifying. As of this moment, the 78 of Chad Seiler for Brownlee Boys Racing, their second entry. Also the 92 of Haven Bouveret from Bad Axe, Michigan, who participated in their rookie practice earlier today. Has not made an appearance in qualifying as of yet. Everyone else has qualified. So barring anything else, this should be your final qualifiers of the evening for I-500 round 2 qualifying. First lap 42.986, 42.986, about 8/10 off their best lap. The number 1 Ritchie Racing Arctic Cat still 24th. Scott Odom has got to pick up some speed. That Team Torture Racing number 35. They are a 2nd and 6/10 off of the bubble time. 49.910. Mechanical problems continue to play. That Team Torture Racing Ski-Doo.
Yeah, that Ski-Doo not making a lot of speed down that straightaway, so definitely needs a lot of speed here down the back this final lap to try to better his time.
Here comes Jake Ritchie. He'll make his way down. And a 43.482. 43.482. Their best lap of the day was a 42.141 this afternoon. 24th quick. Good run for the number 1 Ritchie Racing Arctic Cat. Here comes Scott Odom. Odom definitely has they got to figure something out on that Team Torture Racing number 35.
Yeah, that sled not up to speed at all as he comes down that straightaway here to complete lap number 2.
And his second lap, 49.117. 49.117. Their best lap of the day was a 45.700 earlier today. 42nd quick for number 35 Team Torture Racing Ski-Doo. They need to find 1.6 seconds to get in to the top 38. They have 2 more chances tomorrow. Scheduled to go, unable to answer the call. The 78 Indian Summer Apple Juice Polaris for Brownlee Boys Racing. The second entry from that team. The 37-year-old from Spring Lake, Michigan. The 78 of Chad Seiler. They were 39th. They're on the outside looking in. They're not participating in this second round of qualifying, and neither is Haven Bouveret. Out of Bad Axe, Michigan, a Bouveret Motorsports Polaris. 19 years old from Bad Axe, Michigan. She participated in rookie qualifying, or rookie practice earlier today, but has not, as of yet, taken a qualifying lap. So that will conclude round 2 qualifying for the Parker's Ace Hardware I-500 Pole Award, and remaining on top of the charts with his lap from earlier today, a 40.413. The number 21 Cataract Collision Racing Arctic Cat, ridden by Troy DeWald, remains P1 on top of the charts. Second quick with a 40.627. The number 2 Town Brothers Racing Ski-Doo, ridden by Matt Town. Matt